It's recording.
Hey.
Hey. Welcome to the Live Messy podcast. You get the unedited, face-to-face YouTube version of us before we drop off the episode. So if you ever want to hear an episode beforehand, before we release it, you can always go to our YouTube page.
Yes, where do you find our YouTube page, Sarah?
Oh, it is the Live Messy podcast. We're keeping it simple.
Yeah, everywhere you want to look for us, just search Live Messy Podcast.
3 separate words. Like and subscribe on YouTube. Give us a like on our Instagram page. And leave us a comment. Let us know. We want to hear what you guys think and what you guys are doing and what you want to hear about.
Yes, we want some engagement. You are our community, and you are what propel us to do this every day. So we need to hear from you in order to provide you with what needs to be talked about. Yeah.
Okay. Now we can be real.
So today, I thought you were going to start talking, and you didn't.
No, I just wanted to breathe.
Today we're talking about lies. The lies we believe, the lies we tell each other. Tell ourselves. And
you look real cute, Megan.
Thanks.
Just kidding. She looks really cute.
And how those lies lead to limiting us, how we limit ourselves based on the lies that we believe. So we were chit-chatting, and it's funny, we planned all this in the summertime, and I told Sarah, I was like, I needed to write better notes because I keep forgetting what our titles are about. And so she texted me back, or Margot pulled me back to let me know. And this book came out. I don't know how long I've had this book. Let's see. Scott and I have been married 17 years. I've had it for at least that long. Lies Women Believe in the Truth That Sets Them Free. It was a book that I read in a women's group at a Baptist church.
Okay, can we note one funny thing about it? It says over 1/4 million sold. Just 1/4.
Not 250,000.
Nope, just 1/4.
1/4.
Not 1/2. I was like, what?
I was like, I don't know if I put that on the cover of my book.
And what's funny is we talked about this stuff, and sometimes you always have those little mind moments where you're like, did I read that somewhere? Or is that my own original thought? And then when she brought the book, and I'm like, have I read this book and I just forgot? No, I've never seen the book. It was my own original thought. Apparently, I'm not the only one that has the same thought.
Right? And I really honestly don't think we are aware of how many lies we believe.
Yes, and FYI, just because someone has had the thought before you, that doesn't mean that your thought is too late or wrong. It just means you're on the right track.
It does. And speaking on that, let's go down this rabbit trail. If someone else has it and you have it too, and you want to talk about it, but you don't feel like you can because someone has already said it, nobody said it the way you have.
Yes. We talked about that before in previous podcasts, about God gives you your voice and your testimony to share a story. And like we talked about the Bible, how many people have rewritten the Bible, tell verses out of the Bible, but yet there's somebody that speaks to you or puts it in a way that draws you, and that's the idea. So we're all saying the same thing over and over, different voice.
But this is important, and it's funny because I have a friend right now that is giving a lot of, and I'm not going to go there, but she's giving a lot of research and information on vaccines. We're not going to have a vaccine conversation.
Now I'm like thinking, ooh,
right, what is she going to talk about? It's
who
juicy. No, it's good. But what I've realized, and it was ironic because she was giving all this information, and then someone else came on that I saw and know very well with a very different point of view. And that person, I believe, is not as educated or experienced in the realm of what she's talking about. She's just stating an opinion without there's a lot of fluff behind it, not a lot of, a good foundation.
Research, I guess.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Then I listened to a news story, I have 2 news podcasts I listen to. One is worldly, I'm doing air quotes. One is secular. The other one is from a Christian worldview.
Remind me to tell you a story about the word secular later.
Okay. But anyways, it was interesting because the secular one completely left out a whole paragraph from an article. It was an editorial correction on the article. So the secular one left all that out. The Christian worldview one brought it in. This squirrel literally caught my eye, like, squirrel, we're down a rabbit hole, like squirrel. Anyways, it was just interesting that even what is being filtered into our homes and into our lives, we start believing a truth that's not really an actual truth. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying.
So let me read to you this list.
Me with squirrels, though.
I know, I did see a literal squirrel. It wasn't my fault.
List.
Let me read the list and that'll help focus us.
Let's give credit where credit is due.
Who is the writer? Nancy Lee DeMoss, Lies Women Believe and the Truth That Sets Them Free. You can check out, if you're listening to the podcast, you can check out our YouTube page because I'm showing it there. And maybe I'll put it in our stories. So you need to go on Instagram and see it in our stories. But let's read this list.
I feel like it could be like an Oprah episode, the whole book.
Oh, for sure.
I feel like Oprah
for sure.
talked about. I might need to do some research on that.
God. Okay, so this is about lies we believe about God. God is not really good. God doesn't love me. God is just like my father, like my physical father here on earth. God is not, which could be a bad thing.
Yeah. Did you see my face? Well, you didn't because you're listening. If you went to YouTube, you would see.
Yes. God is not really enough. God's ways are too restrictive. I know someone who believes that. God should fix my problems. Amen. Mm-hmm. I believe that one. All right. About ourselves. This is lies we believe about ourselves. I'm not worth anything. That's huge right now.
Yes.
I need to learn to love myself. Interesting. That's a lie. We need to learn to love ourselves.
Like you should be okay with not loving yourself. Is that what that means?
I think what she's saying when it comes to that is that loving ourselves is found in Christ loving us.
Okay.
It's not something we do on our own.
Got it. Go.
I can't help the way I am. That goes back to our podcast about victim versus victory. If you haven't listened to that one, that was a good one. I have my rights. This is huge right now in our culture. Mm-hmm. I have rights and you can't impede on them. And really, I don't think we have any rights personally when it comes to God. Do you know what I'm saying? Rights to me are a gift.
I don't have enough thoughts on that to comment.
That's my comment on that. Physical beauty matters more than interview beauty. Obviously, it's a lie we believe. Mm-hmm. I should not have to live with unfulfilled longings.
Ooh, where do we want to dive in at?
Hold on, I'm not even done.
There's too many.
About sin, about our sassy selves. Are you ready? Yeah. I can sin and get away with it. My sin isn't really that bad. I mean, sometimes it's not. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
It's fine.
I can justify it, right? God can't forgive what I have done. I think there's a lot of women that sit there, and there's a lot of shame that comes with that one. I'm not fully responsible for my actions and reactions. That goes back to Victim and Victory podcast, that you're not responsible for your actions and reactions because it's someone else's fault, right? Mm-hmm. I cannot walk in consistent victory over sin. Okay? Lies about priorities. I don't have time to do everything I'm supposed to do.
Oh, shut up. You do too.
You have time to give whatever you want to give your time to.
Exactly.
I can make it without consistent time in the word and prayer. A career outside the home is more valuable and fulfilling than being a wife and a mother. Ooh, that's a good one. Mm-hmm. Lies about marriage. I have to have a husband to be happy.
No, you don't. Shh.
We talked about that on a podcast.
Did we?
In our marriage series, we talked about that our spouse was not responsible for our happiness. Yeah. High five on like that echoey, whatever we just did. It is my responsibility to change my mate.
No, dear Lord, that's so much pressure. No.
We talked about that in the marriage series too. Go back and listen to those. Or you can watch them on YouTube. My husband is supposed to serve me. I like that one.
I feel like that's the only accurate lie.
I feel like that one needs to happen. If I submit to my husband, I'll be miserable. That's a good one. If my husband is passive, I've got to take the initiative or nothing will get done.
You have to lead if they're not leading.
Yeah.
Oh no.
And maybe their passivity is a way of leading. I'm just going to lay that there.
Passive aggressive.
Sometimes divorce is a better option than staying in a bad marriage. Okay. Lies about children. I know, that's a tough one.
It's a tough one.
It's up to us to determine the size of our family. I'm just going to laugh at that because we have Wyatt. Not that we don't love that child, but I'm just saying. Children need to get exposed to the real world so that they can learn to function in it. All children will go through a rebellious stage. I know my child is a Christian because he's prayed to receive Christ at an early age. We are not responsible for how our children turn out. I don't know if anyone's ever believed that.
I think some people believe that. They feel like they're still...
Like, I've parented you, now it's your decision. I think there's some truth. Anyways, we can go into that. Lies about emotions. I'm almost done. We're going to do about emotions and our circumstances. Okay. If I feel something, it must be true.
Oh, no.
Yeah, but I think we fall into this without even realizing or knowing it. I really do. If I can't... lies we believe. I can't control my emotions...
I did a Facebook post. I did a Facebook Live about that. About you are in charge. Your feelings. You I don't know. Keep talking. Fell out of my face. Fell out of my head.
I feel like we can feel whatever we want to feel. We're responsible for how we express it.
There we go.
I can't help how I respond when my hormones are out of whack.
Oh, honey.
It's understandable to act like a shrew at certain times.
What's a shrew? Like a prude?
Yeah, I think it's kind of acting bitchy.
Is that just acting bitchy?
Yeah, I think so.
Huh, okay.
The answer to depression must first be sought in medicine or psychotherapy. Okay, lies about circumstances. If my circumstances were different, I would be different.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
I've proclaimed that before.
I believed that for a long time.
Yep, that's back. This goes a lot back to our victim versus victory.
Yes.
You guys need to listen to that or watch it on YouTube. I shouldn't have to suffer. I believe our cult. We talked about this last week about how we didn't want to, how our culture wants to just not feel anything. My circumstances will never change. This will go on forever.
That's a lie. I've been there too. It feels like it's never ending.
Yeah, and you know what's funny is when we first sat down, we did a little catch up, and last Tuesday night, my kids, their situation in their sports that night was not good, and it was so good to last night have a success for both of them, and it made me think of those moments when you feel like, oh, it's always going to feel hard and heavy. But then last night reminded me, no, it's not. You have victories. All right, last two. I just can't take anymore, and it's all about me. Your circumstances are all about you. So that's good. There's so much, and we're already at 11 minutes.
All right. So the idea of this podcast was something that I had thought about because it's something I tell a lot of people. What is it in your life that you're thinking about or that you believe is a hard stop, or is that the right term for that hard stop? It's like it's non-negotiable. This is the way it is. There's nothing I can do about it. I've always encouraged people to open their minds and think about a perfect scenario, what that would look like, and how you can adjust things in your life. And a lot of that boils, you dig up so many lies that you believe about your circumstances and about who... about the way that life is and about who you are when you start to think about things that way. Well, I can't do this because I can't do this, or I can't because it's just over and over.
A really petty, stupid one. I bought pumpkin spice creamer. Just stick with me, please. I bought pumpkin spice creamer at the market. Am I 80? At Target. The market. I was pushing my buggy and I was at the market.
That teller was a shrew.
And I was a little shrew yesterday. Wasn't feeling it because it's 85 million degrees outside still.
Stupid, Texas.
Made me a little
shit together, Texas.
Anyways, I bought my pumpkin spice creamer and I haven't used it yet. I have been using Nut Paws creamer, which is a Whole30 approved creamer. It doesn't taste like anything really. It's a mental game.
I drink no coffee. I have no clue what you're talking about.
So fully different. Okay? So I'm like, well, I'm going to put in some of my pumpkin spice latte because I'm going to get fancy today.
Yeah, you are.
I'm going off the Whole30 wagon. I'm going to have some sugar. I could not stand it.
It was
sweet? So gross. It tasted fake.
I could see that.
You know what I'm saying?
When you don't have processed sugars for a long period of time and then you eat it, you're like, what the?
I'm like
I can't drink Diet Dr. Pepper anymore.
Yes. And so I thought back to when I first started changing my diet. And I know so many people that say this. They say, I can't do it because I have to have X, Y, and Z. I need to have this in my life or that's too limiting for me. And it's amazing how I just said, well, I'm just going to do it. And then I go back to those things that I thought I couldn't live without. And I'm like, this is disgusting.
Yeah. That can be a metaphor for life, right there.
I agree. On pumpkin
metaphor.
Spice creamer, and it's fall. I mean, I just brought it.
You did.
I brought it.
And that's a metaphor for life, y'all. It really is. What did you think that you could not live without?
Yeah.
And then you
went or you couldn't do, or you weren't capable of.
And I think it boils down to there's this mental block, and I think that the lies lie in that mental block. And I think that once we kind of I don't know, I can't find my words today. Once we kind of go through, clean out, whatever the right word is, those lies and those beliefs that you have, you can see how your mind just stands in the way. All you have to do is say no and just change your mind and be like, okay, that's it. And it sounds so simple when really it truly is just that simple. Just to say no.
It's such a shift.
I'm not going to have creamer.
Right. I'm not having my pumpkin spice creamer. No, I'm going to have my nut pods, and I'm going to enjoy my nut pods.
I'll be fine.
Yeah.
Fine.
Even when you tell me it's cinnamon and it doesn't taste like cinnamon, I'm going to enjoy it.
Yes.
It tastes like air. But I think, there was a book I read a while back called Crashes the Chatterbox by Stephen Furtick. I can't talk either. We need to do those like tongue twisters before we get on. But it's all about... I feel like my bracelets are being annoying. It's all about it getting in your head and those conversations you have and how they affect everything else about you. I just got on a little Insta story rampage. Not a rampage, but I talked to my fake friends and we processed through it. Me and my fake friends.
Are they really fake friends?
Well, they're not fake, but they're my Instagram friends that aren't really there. I'm talking into my phone. But me and my fake friends, we processed my emotions yesterday.
I'm really confused by all of that, but that's okay. Do I need these things? Do I need fake friends? Like, I'm confused. Like, are they like people you just know through Instagram? You've never met them in real life? And you're
like when you talk in your Insta stories, I'm talking to my phone, not to real people, but there are real people that I know that are my friends that are on Instagram.
I was like, I'm confused.
I'm processing at a phone. Nobody's responding. But we worked it out and it was good. But I was sitting there and I told you, I'm like, I'm just kind of blah, not really in a funk, just kind of.
I saw that one. Yeah.
And I had this epiphany at the gas pump yesterday that it was these feelings of, well, what would happen if I just stopped working on everything I've been working on? Like, would people really care? Do they really care about everything I'm putting out there and the work I'm doing? And I'm tired. Mm-hmm. I have to remember where everybody needs to go all the time and what they need. And I'm just at like a mental load capacity. And then it dawned on me that isn't it like the enemy to get into our heads and just tick away at us and get us to believe things that aren't necessarily true. It's not God shifting your journey. It's not God telling you no. It's not God telling you to stop or you can't. Mm-hmm. It's this little conversation in your head of self-doubt or I don't have time for that. That was one of the things on the list, right? Or nobody cares. So that's a self-worth and self-value. It was amazing to me how easily I just started believing it. Do you know what I mean? And it became my reality when it really wasn't reality. Because after posting that, the messages I got, not from people I personally know, but people who saw it and said it mattered, told me, it mattered. And it was a lie I was about to believe that might have shut something down for the glory of God because something got into my head and it limited me.
If you think about it, how does the devil work? He works in the insecurities and the small comments and in the whispers. Mm-hmm. God works in the big picture, the steadfastness, the no questioning what he says. God doesn't tick away at your insecurities. That's how you know. I remember years and years and years ago, someone told me that the devil tells you lies. And I'm like, what?
Right.
What?
That is so weird. And I even said that on my Insta stories.
And being able to like identify what he is saying, like when you're under attack and whenever God is there, like being able to decipher what is one, you.
Yeah.
God. Well, God first. Then you, and then like the devil, like which one of these is really calling the shots in the
and a lot of times we'll allow him to call the shots, and that's because and you said lies that we believe, that lies that lead to limiting beliefs about ourselves, and I said in my Insta story, some of you are listening and you're like, y'all are crazy talking about some weird mystic creature making Satan, making you believe these lies, and the rest of like the Baptists are like, in Jesus' name I asked a healer. You know what I mean? Like the Pentecostals are out there like, in Jesus' name they're praying for us. There's an array, I'm sure, but whether you believe in God or not, as you're listening to this, we all believe lies that limit us.
Yes, and
for
whatever
you and
title that you want to put on who's saying those lies,
right? It's there and it's a truth that happens in our lives, and are you going to allow that to overtake you and allow that to become your life, or are you going to free yourself from the shackles of those lies and live to your full capacity?
And I will tell you a little life experience, because apparently we just are living the podcast episodes.
Yes. Every time we get together, we're like, I don't know what to talk about, but I had this experience yesterday.
Oh, that's exactly what our topic is, Sarah. Anyway, so currently right now, like I have always lived in the past, 11 years, having help with Allison.
Right.
Licensed nursing help. And so for years, I believed this lie that I told myself, I can't do this.
You can't do it without the help.
I can't do it without the help.
Yeah.
What does that look like? I can't do that for years.
Yeah.
And I found myself in this place of just complete dissatisfaction, complete anxiety and anguish, because that's all I knew. Mm-hmm. And it was a lie that I had told I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to have this. And God told me, no, you don't. No, you don't. And I'm like, you don't know anything, Jesus.
Right, and that's terrifying. Wasn't that one of our lies? I got to find it. Keep talking. Yes. I'm going to find it.
So I believed that lie, and I didn't have faith, and I didn't trust, because it was uncomfortable. And I think I posted a little bit about this, because this is literally happening today, right now, live in my life. And it's funny that you coach other people on this, but then you're like, oh, shoot.
Right.
I got to do it too. Right. And every season of life, it's just a different box that you've put yourself in. Right. And then you grow out of that box, then you put yourself in a different box, and then you grow out of that one. So I always believed, I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do it. And God's like, yes, you can. And I told Megan, like, about, I don't know, 6 months to a year ago, I'm like, you know, God is just putting on my heart to just take time with her and be with her and not have people in my home. Like,
and you know what's interesting is you have fought it for a year, because you've said it to me numerous times, and you're like, I think like 6 months. I'm like, no, it's been about a year. And you have fought it, and God has taken things out of your life because he knew you couldn't leave it. So he's done, certain circumstances have happened where he's taken things out of your life, and a lot of us would look at that as a negative.
God isn't out for my good.
Yes.
God isn't wanting to help me. Why can't he just bring somebody here that will help me?
Right.
Why can't he just...
And why did he take this from me? Why did he take this from me? And those are all lies that and that's someone, I think on the list it said God isn't good or something like that. So a lot of times, I just saw another thing on Instagram too. Someone posted today that said, maybe that no is to protect you from something. And so it's limiting. It's a limiting belief in that you thought you did not have the ability to take care of your daughter without help. And now you're discovering, whoa, I'm a lot stronger than I thought. Yes. I'm a lot more capable than I thought. And this time with my daughter is precious.
Yes. And that's the other thing. I would look at it as, well, I'm not going to regret it. And that's kind of a thought process that I bring to a lot of certain situations. I'm like, well, I can always change my mind.
Yeah.
I mean, outside of, I don't know what you couldn't change your mind on. You buy a house, you can change your mind. You buy a car, you change your mind. You can do a lot of stuff.
Unless it's going to hurt someone. Yeah. There's nothing you can't.
Always change your mind.
Yeah.
You can always step out in that faith. And if you know when it doesn't fit. You know when it doesn't work.
Like I said yesterday in my stories, you know that you know that you know when it's a no.
Yes.
So K-N-O, and then at the end, N-O.
You know when it's a no.
You just know. And I think too often we are believing, whether it's from our upbringing or circumstances or culture or whatever, we are believing so many lies on a daily basis.
I think we should just go through some of the lies that you believe and some of the lies that I believe. And I guarantee that people are like, oh my gosh, it's me too.
You start, because I got to think for a second.
I'm not smart enough. That's a lie that
We've had a couple conversations about that you're not qualified because you don't have the license behind your name.
Not even smart enough. Like, just not even qualified. Screw qualifications, because one, school is way too expensive. No one's going to be qualified here in a little bit. So let's just put that down.
Or everyone is getting college degrees right now, and so the value of that degree is going down.
Yes, maybe that's exactly what it is. We all need to be plumbers. So
they get paid a lot.
They do. They do just fine.
Yeah.
I'm not, like, I even married Clifton. I'm like, he's so much smarter than me.
Yeah,
that was one of the
Sometimes
things.
I feel stupid around Scott.
Like,
and he doesn't mean to make me feel stupid.
He doesn't
just
think
so
that at
stinking
all.
Smart.
Like, he's never said it.
No.
He's never had a...
If anything, Scott makes me feel smarter than I am.
I'm like, he's brilliant.
Yeah.
That's one, what's the other thing I don't believe? I'm starting to believe that I'm old. But that's a new one. But,
I'm there with you.
I'm trying to think. Not smart enough, and you're too mean. That's a lie that I believe about myself.
Really?
Yeah.
Like what do you mean?
Like you're too abrupt, you're too blunt, and you're too aggressive. Too aggressive, there's the word. I'm too aggressive.
I like your aggressiveness.
Well, you know.
But I think people need to get to know us. And again, it goes back to, I talked about this on a different podcast. People have a perspective of you.
What other podcast are you on?
Did I say it was
you
on another podcast? And I'm not on any. I am recording.
She's like,
for
I do
today,
another podcast, and it's
that's not what I meant. I meant another podcast that we recorded. I don't even know the words that are coming out of my mouth. I was writing and talking. You can be a guest on my other podcast. People have a perspective of who you are.
Perception
Of who you are, and that's not really truly who you are. So I have a lot of lies now that you started talking. I was like, oh, there they are.
Oh, there they are. They're real quick to find.
They are. They found me. Lots of lies on body image, for sure.
Really?
I've always been the tallest. I was 5'8" in 6th grade, so I was taller than the boys. So I think I've always, even though nobody got on me about it, because I was a tomboy growing up, I would see it in pictures like, oh my gosh, I am a gigantic person in that picture because I'm so tall. And I'm 5'8". I have a giant head.
I have a small head.
And then I have all this hair. Definite body images, like too fat, too big, too tall.
Oh, fat.
Fat for sure.
Or you're going to get fat. Like when you get like thin and you lose like the baby weight and you get fit, then you're like, oh crap. Yeah. Am I a fraud?
Yeah. Well, now I got to hold it off.
Now I got to hold it off, and I'm a trainer, and I'm selling health. Yes. I can't get fat.
Yeah. Anyway. Lots of body image. I haven't really had a hard time with the aging thing, because I look in the mirror, and I'm like, oh, there's the old lady neck coming. And yeah, like it's wrinkly, even if I moisturize it a lot.
Me and Clifton have a joke. You have to go to YouTube to see the joke.
Okay.
Or like, okay, do I look better like this? Or like this? Like this?
I don't like that.
Or like this. He's always like,
you gotta go to YouTube because she just did a face. I do not like that.
He was like, I can't even tell a difference. And so now he jokes around. He's like, how do I look? How do I look?
Gosh.
Anyways.
The other one with the ministry thing was, am I a fraud? I'm too old to just be getting started.
Oh, someone's already done it. That's another lie.
Yeah, I don't necessarily have someone's already done it, but I do look at, like, really? That got 500 views? I'm doing the Lord's work.
The puppy in the toilet was cute.
Right. So then I think of, like, lies of, and I talked about that earlier. Does this really matter? Am I really having an impact? Am I doing really what God is calling me to do? Lots of those conversations. And the thing about me is I have this intrinsic motivation that hasn't always been there. It was discovered later that when those things come in, I'm like, well, I'm going to keep going. I'm just going to punch it in the face.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to do it anyway.
I've been like that my whole life, and so that's why they
But it doesn't mean when people see me doing it, you need to know that it's really being propelled by insecurities and lies, limiting lies, not I'm this great, secure, confident person.
So I want to loop this back around and think about all of the things that we stop or keep. It's more of not even just stop. It's more of you don't do something that you know you're supposed to do.
Or you keep doing something and it's not a positive behavior.
Exactly. Yeah. Or like, oh, I know I need to post this, but I'm not going to. And there's just something inside of you that stops you. There's something that stops you every time. And 9 times out of 10, it is that limiting belief that nobody wants to hear what you have to say. Yeah. Nobody wants to see you. Nobody is going to think
I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not filling the blank.
And the thing is that stop right there is what keeps you from living in the fulfillment that God has created you for.
Absolutely.
And I think once we can kind of identify what that stop is, and like, well, why am I not doing that? And step out in the faith and be like, I'm just going to do it. And I will tell you, my nickname growing up was Crazy Sarah. Yeah. Because I was like, well, let's just do it. Let's just do it. And so my husband says that I drive him because, one, I throw a lot of caution to the wind. Apparently in his money as well. And I'm like, let's just do it. Yeah. And he's a very reserved, cautious person. And he's like, okay.
You're freaking me out, but okay.
But I'm going to do it.
Okay.
But I was just thinking about all those little things that we tell ourselves and that the lies that we believe and what they keep us from doing. It's really the sad part of it.
It is. And you almost need to journal out. Because when you asked me on the spot, what lies do you believe? And I'm like, well, I don't really believe a lot of lies. And then you started talking and I was like, oh crap, I really do. There's a lot of conversations. And I can look back at where they came from.
And where that seed was planted.
For sure.
Or that whisper was
that
given.
Insecurity started. Absolutely. I can tell you right where, and I was like 6, I can tell you.
Oh my gosh. Didn't Joanna Gaines talk about something like that? That she, it was like when she was 6 or 7, like she believed this lie. I remember her watching some Christian little video about that.
I remember being the one that was left out. And
shit, you didn't get picked for volleyball or basketball first?
No, I'm talking about like out of the group of friends and the social aspects of it all. I was always the one longing to fit in, and I didn't fit in. And now I can look at my not fitting in as a gift and as something that when you tell me to do something on Instagram because it's going to get more followers and subscribers, I'm probably going to fight against you because it's going to change who I am as a person, and I'm not willing to take that authenticity away. So it's now I can look at it as a strength rather than a weakness. But as a kid growing up from elementary school through high school, I was always the one chasing to fit in. And then there was a lot of family drama that happened, so that just added to it. It was never my parents telling me anything. It was always peer groups.
The little things.
And like seeing society and like magazines and stuff like that, and believing like, okay, well, I don't look like this person. I don't have money like this person, whatever. I just, every time I tried for something, I failed 9 times out of 10.
Really? See, I had the opposite attitude, and that's why I think maybe I'm not typical, I would say, and that maybe that I don't want to sound like it's a braggy thing at all, because being not typical is not always great either. But I never cared too much what people thought, like ever.
See, and I think I'm the opposite. I probably care too much.
And I was just like, okay, this is what I want to do. This is what I'm going to do. I was never, if everyone's going here and I just didn't want to, I was totally fine not. Yeah. And I did like my own thing. But then again, it also created, I don't want to say a wedge,
but isolation for you.
A little bit, that's for sure. And especially when I had friends and stuff in high school, and whenever those friendships, whenever you are a secure person, I have noticed, and a confident person, insecure people are attracted to you, and then they get done with you. Yeah. Then they're like,
well, yeah, because you make them feel bad, and you're not purposefully making them feel bad.
No, but I'm like, this is just who I am, and I think it starts to bother them, and so I would lose friendships, and I was always told, oh my God, this is, hold my hand.
I'm gonna hold her hand. If you're watching YouTube, we're holding hands.
This is what I was always told by friends and by people that were trying to hurt me. I could always tell because they were always like mad at me or something, and they'd be like, you have more confidence than you need. You're overly confident. And I'm like,
so then it takes a strength in you, and it depletes that strength.
Yes, they were like, you're overly confident. You're cocky. You don't need. That's why, and that's the problem. That's why you. Yeah. Everyone.
And then so now you're not going to go after something, or you're gonna maybe go so far and then back off, and that's a limiting belief because of a lie. I'm currently reading a book that a friend had posted about, and I'm like, well, we seem to have similar, what am I looking for? Reading genres. We like the same kind of books. Anyways.
Found a word.
All I had to say was we like the same kind of books. But I'm reading this book. It's called Delusion. I don't know why that was so hard. And without giving the story away, it's a fiction book, and it's a story, and it's a Christian story, which I've never read Christian fiction before. I always read Christian nonfiction. Nonfiction's the real.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways,
she's super smart, don't worry.
It talks about the people in the book. It talks about them having these, it's this vision this guy has, but they have these chains hanging off their bodies and these cords coming out of their head, and at the bottom of the chains are like a shackle, and when the shackle is open, it has a word, and that word could be despised, anger. Think of all the things that are in our lives that limit us, lies we believe, insecurity. It's all of those things, all the lies that we believe, and it's in these shackles. And then just bear with me. It's fiction, guys.
No,
these demons come in.
On yeah.
And they feed, so they open the shackle, they find the word. So the demon has a matching word somewhere on them, or the creature, what do they call them? Creepers in the book. And they open the shackle and they like feed off of that word. So these people are exhibiting these behaviors based on these lies that they believe, and these creepers are feeding it and they don't even realize it. And so they're walking around.
Exactly what happens to everybody.
Yes, they're walking around with these heavy chains that he can't stand the noise. I have the chills. He can't stand the noise of them because they're so loud, and they're burdens that they don't. His mom is an alcoholic, but she was hurt when she was younger, and there's a reason behind it. And so her words all attribute to this. And as we're talking about these lies that lead to limiting beliefs, his frustration, the guy who can see it, his frustration is they don't even realize it.
No.
They're living in these lies. They're living in these limiting beliefs, and they aren't even aware of it. They're so not aware of it.
There's another book by Tara-Leigh Cobble. Tara-Leigh Cobble. She's a singer. Orange Jumpsuit. It's the same thing about how we live in a prison, even though we've been freed.
Yeah.
And it's the same idea. It's the same what we live every single day. That is an illustration of that. Both of those books are illustration of,
I mean, it's so powerful.
Of the lies that guide our life, unfortunately. And I think, oh my God, I can't even